Hey guys, what's going on? This is Mr. Garrow, just checking in with you. Today, I want to give you a brief video that is going to look at argumentative writing. And as you're aware, in our classroom, a big part of our work this year is going to be in argumentative writing. A big part of history in general is looking at an event or something from the past, looking at the various sides of that event or argument or issue, conflict, whatever it may be, looking at the evidence that exists, and then trying to form an opinion and convince others that our opinion is correct in our interpretation of those historical facts. Okay? We want to be able to look at historical events critically and look back at how they're portrayed, what actually happened, and come to an opinion about those events. And so argumentative writing is a way for us to do that with you guys as students, okay? In the early portion of the school year, we like to start small. So instead of week one having you write a 5-paragraph essay in argumentative writing, instead we're going to build up to that over the course of the semester. And so the first thing we look at each semester is a 1-paragraph argumentative write. And so this video is going to go over what we have and what we expect in a 1-paragraph argumentative write situation. Okay, we use this in all of our remote learning classes. And so rather than looking at content here, I'm not going to talk about any historical figures or events. I'm just going to talk about what we look for in an argumentative write that a student would turn in a 1-paragraph argumentative write. Okay, so the first thing that I want to point out to you is that a 1-paragraph argumentative write is always going to have some sort of question that you are attempting to answer. Okay, your weekly assignment from your teachers will be presented to you, and that question will ask you to look at an issue or an event, look at both sides of that issue, and then you have to pick a side and tell us why that is the best option. Ultimately, your job is to convince me, the teacher, that I should agree with you. Be so convincing in your work that I have to agree with you. And to do that in a 1-paragraph argumentative write, you're going to have 4 pieces to this write. Okay, 4 pieces that you're going to include in this paragraph. Those 4 things are a strong thesis, which is your presenting of your choice. Okay? You're going to want to provide great evidence. You're going to want to provide a couple of things from that week's readings and videos and lectures that you believe are really strong pieces of evidence to support your choice. You're going to want to address the other side, and we call this counterclaim. Okay, so addressing the other side means look at the other side of the argument, acknowledge that they have evidence. However, then tell me why yours is still the correct choice or the correct option, and then a strong conclusion. Okay, so without dragging this on into like a 30-minute thing, I just want to show you an example of what a 1-paragraph might look like and go over those 4 pieces with you so that you're aware of what we are looking for as teachers in a 1-paragraph argumentative write. Okay, so in this example, what I've done is I've just taken a very silly, simple question and posed it to a student, a hypothetical student who would be trying to answer it in a 1-paragraph argumentative write style. Okay, and the question is, who's the greatest basketball player of all time? Okay, and you can see I've color-coded my response, the 1-paragraph response from the student, so that it's easy for you to see the 4 aspects of that response. Okay, so let's start with the thesis, which is the statement of belief, the argument that we believe is correct if you're writing the thesis. Okay. In this instance, it says Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time because he's led his team to victory while also achieving tremendous individual accomplishments. So the thesis is saying that the basketball player Michael Jordan is the best because not only did he accomplish great things individually, but that he also helped his team accomplish great things. And so those are the 2 aspects that we are using to support our argument. Okay, and so the key then for me is to use the rest of this document to showcase the individual achievements, but also the team achievements of Mr. Jordan to prove to the reader that I am correct. Okay, And we do that using evidence. That's the second piece, and that's the stuff you see in red here. And the evidence is Mr. Jordan won 6 NBA championships with the Bulls, winning 3 consecutive titles twice in a row. So that's a team accomplishment, right? I said I was going to talk about his team victories in the thesis, and so I've just done that. He was also the NBA's most valuable player 5 times during his career. And finally, Mr. Jordan was the league leading scorer 10 times during his career, a record which he still holds to this day. So those are his individual accomplishments. So what I've done is I've taken my thesis, which said he's a great player and he's the best of all time because of his team and his individual successes. And then I've used evidence about his NBA titles and then his individual awards and records to prove my thesis. Okay? So I've taken my thesis, I've explained what I'm going to prove, I've then used evidence to prove that thesis. Now I have to address the other side of the argument. Okay? That is what we call counterclaim. Some people will argue LeBron James is a greater basketball player because he led his team to the finals 9 times. All right? So what I've done here is I've addressed another side of the argument, which is that, well, LeBron went to more finals championships with his team, and thus he's a greater player. However, okay, I am going to argue that Mr. James had only won 3 of those finals and lost the other 6, thus proving Mr. Jordan's superiority, why he was better when games mattered the most. So what I've done here is I've said, okay, some people will argue this aspect about LeBron James and why it makes him better than Mr. Jordan. In my opinion, the evidence shows that it is in fact Mr. Jordan who is more successful because he won all of them rather than losing any like Mr. James had, right? So I've addressed the other side of the argument now, the counterclaim, the idea that Mr. James might be better. So that's the third piece of a one-paragraph argumentative write, okay? The fourth piece of a one-paragraph argumentative write is going to be the conclusion, okay? And all I'm going to do in a conclusion really is I'm going to restate my thesis in a little bit different wording to re-emphasize my argument, my point, okay? And so I've said here at the bottom, the evidence presented details why Michael Jordan is considered to be the greatest basketball player of all time, thanks to his individual talents, which I have proved with my evidence, and his tremendous ability to help his team reach the pinnacle of success in the NBA, which I also proved with my evidence. So I've restated my thesis saying he's the best of all time because of individual skills and winning with his team. I've proved it with evidence. I've addressed the other side, which is the counterclaim, right, about Mr. James, and restated the conclusion, restated the thesis in the conclusion, okay? This is the kind of thing that we are looking for in a one-paragraph argumentative write in our history class, okay? Obviously, the questions aren't going to be about a basketball player. Instead, the question might be, should country A have invaded country B and started this war? And then what you will do is you will spend the week reading, watching videos, listening to lectures, taking notes, filling out your weekly assignment. And then at the end of that week, when you sit down to do your one-paragraph argumentative write, you're going to take all of that information that you've soaked up during the week, and you are going to put it into a one-paragraph format, just like this. All right? Okay, guys. So this has been a quick tutorial on a one-paragraph argumentative write for Mr. Garrow's social studies classes. Hopefully it has been beneficial to you. Come back and watch it many times if you have questions about what we're looking for in it. And we will talk to you guys soon. Oh, and as always, go Rams.